Can I get a hee haw?
Hee haw!
Hee haw.
Hee haw!
What do we got in the house right now? We got Lambo in the house. Say what's up, Lambo.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for having me on, Wes and Sierra. This is Lambo McGee, the director of vibes for the Lost Donkeys. Super happy to be here
Yes,
with you
sir.
guys. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Dude, we are just so thankful for you to be here. We know that you're super busy, so we're not going to hold you hostage for too long, but yeah, so grateful for you to be here, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, before we get started, today is a really, really, really special day. And I want to give a big shout out, actually a birthday shout out to one of our biggest community members, our biggest supporters, Clara Yoshi. Clara Yoshi, thank you so much for everything you do for us. She's amazing. Patty, one of our number one supporters. I mean, she's been a part of Donkeys since the beginning. She's involved with some other projects, Small Snack Shop. She's great ties with Small Sharks. Thank you so much to all of our ecosystem partners, and happy birthday, Patty. We love you so much, and we're so glad that you're a part of our community.
Awesome, man. Happy birthday, Patty.
Yes, happy birthday, Patty, for sure.
All right, so let's get into it, man. What you got going on today, man? You just kind of hanging out?
Day after
Lambo?
Christmas, yep, spending some time with the family, back in the office tomorrow. For those of you that don't know, I am actually a full-time tax accountant. I have a degree in accounting. I focus on self-employed individuals here in the United States. And actually, my deepest passion in that is cryptocurrency and NFT taxation. And I can't talk too much about it, but I'm actually hoping to make a career change here soon and be a little bit more involved in the Web3 NFT cryptocurrency space, along with taxation, so I get to use my degree and my passion together every day. But we won't get too much into that, because what we're here to talk about today is the donkeys. Donkeys are my heart and soul. Just a little bit of background. I actually wasn't a team member from Mint. I was a holder. I minted my donkey. I still have my donkey. I swept the floor and became a whale. I owned 20 pretty much immediately. We minted in March, and ever since then, it's just been absolutely amazing. I mean, the love I've received from the community, all the connections I've made. And over summer, Noodle and I spoke, and I just said, hey, man, you know how much I love the project, and I love the community, and I love engaging with everyone, and I want to know if I can help you with the marketing. And that's basically how all this started. And he just told me, he said, hey, man, you know what? Just go for it. I know you have passion for the donkeys. I know you love the community, and I know you're professional. So, with all those things, go ahead and just, tear it up. And funny story, I was actually supposed to start a TikTok for the Lost Donkeys. And there is, if you go on TikTok, there is the Lost Donkeys NFT. And I posted one.
Really?
I posted one video. And I realized, this isn't it. This isn't where the community is. This isn't where,
Right.
crypto people, where we hang out. They're not hanging out on TikTok. And it was a, romanticized idea, you know what I mean? One of the biggest platforms with all this reach, but that's not the people we want to reach. The people we want to reach are the individual end users who aren't just, buying our NFTs to, individual gain, but, to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And that's the biggest thing that I realized with donkeys and Arbitrum is it's not just about, this financial instrument that, we've invested in, but the fact that we're now a part of something much bigger than ourselves, a real community of individuals. I mean, I've met so many like-minded people that I just would have never spoken to because of donkeys. So from the bottom of my heart, I mean, I'm so grateful to be a part of this team, and that's kind of how I got started. And I'm so grateful every day to be a part of the Lost Donkeys.
That's amazing, man. It's cool to kind of hear how you got started in it, and yeah, like you said, man. Just to elaborate, the community is absolutely what's leading the project, and me and Sierra, man, like when we first kind of got onto Arbitrum, and we were looking for an NFT community to kind of get into, and asking questions about Arbitrum, and people were answering and just being really nice, dude, and welcoming, and then we noticed, we're like, dude, everybody that's answering us has these donkey pics. Like, what are these donkey pics? Like, who are these people? So then we got, Sierra did a little bit more, digging on that, and then we found the Lost Donkey community, man. It's been on ever since, dude. We love the Lost Donkey community for sure.
Yeah, we're glad you guys are a part of the community 100%.
Yeah, I saw that the small brains. It's like I was saying in the last episode with Natimus, and I guess me and Wes were a little late on that train, but I believe it was a Lost Donkeys ad. I think it was, and it was interacting with the small brains, right? So I was like, wait a minute, if the small brains guys are kind of interacting with the Lost Donkeys, maybe if I can't, and at that time, the Lost Donkeys, when I got one, was, I think it was around 37. Where's the floor price now for donkeys? Like 90
I
magic,
think we're about
right?
90 magic.
And
Yeah, so I think we're up to about
yeah,
$50.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's already, I mean, more than doubled since I scooped one, and I was just getting it to be a part of the community. I wasn't like getting it to like buy it and then dump it real quick. I was getting it as a longer term hold, kind of like the small brains were. So to me, yeah, I'd like to scoop a couple more. I mean, but I scooped a Jenny, told Wes, I called him and said, "Get a Jack, you can breed these things." I,
Yeah.
I got the female. I think they're going to do breeding and all this stuff. So my question is did I read that right? Are you guys going to be doing some kind of breeding thing with them? Is that right?
So foals, yes, are 100% a part of our roadmap. So that is an end roadmap piece. So that is actually going to be,
That's in the future.
yeah, so that's going to be closer to phase 3 of what is our roadmap. So our phase is phase 0 to 6. And that's just like our general rough roadmap that was released with the lost paper. And breeding is going to be one of our final roadmap steps. So that is something that I do just try and emphasize. Everything will be chronological based off of how we have, designed the lost paper. And a part of it has to do with the development and how it's going to benefit the game. And we do see breeding as being a very beneficial aspect to the game, but it's definitely something that will be developed on and will be implemented once there's already integrated pieces of actual gameplay. That way the fowls will be able to come in and provide an actual benefit to the already existing part of the gameplay. So it is absolutely on the table, not just on the table, but it is on the timeline, but that is more towards the end of the timeline. And the biggest thing with me though is still, even though it's at the end of the timeline, I consider it every time, I get a new donkey. If I get a male donkey, then I make sure I have to get a counterpart for it. I make sure I have a Jenny. I try and keep it fairly even. Just some insider alpha. Donkeys are not monogamous. Donkeys can have multiple lovers. So just to keep that in mind, that is definitely something. Donkey's all about free love. So it's not going to be like, we're married and these two people, and that's the only option that you're going to get. You know what I mean? But yeah, donkeys like to have fun.
That's awesome, man. A little inside right there. All right, cool deal, man. So real quick, I just want to know if you can elaborate a little bit. How did your role actually transpire for the Lost Donkeys? If you can elaborate on that a little bit more.
So you know what? So like I said, Noodle just said, yeah, go for it, start doing the marketing. And I told him I wanted to start a TikTok. And he said, okay, start a TikTok. And I posted a video. And I just didn't really like the reach I was getting on TikTok. And I had started interacting with people a lot more on Twitter. And before I was real active on Twitter, I was extremely active on Discord. And I love Discord, but the thing about Discord is the reach that you get is you're really put into like this little box, right? So you're in Discord, you're engaging with people in Discord, and the people that see you in that channel are the people that are invited to that channel that are existent in that Discord. So there's no broad reach, whereas something like Twitter, where if you're engaging with one individual, well, their followers are seeing it on their timeline and so on and so on and so on as it continues to be engaged with. So it's that natural, organic aspect that I noticed of, okay, if I'm engaging with other people and they're engaging with me, and then their followers are engaging with that information, then we're all benefiting each other. And that's kind of how it transpired to me, really, really pushing donkeys on Twitter. And as we all know, crypto Twitter, NFT Twitter is the mecca of a majority of our information in our community. We have our Discords where it's, our general project communities where you're going to find, donkeys, smalls, and so forth, where they're going to mutually talk in general channels. But on Twitter, I don't have to be speaking to anyone in general. I could just throw a Heee Haaaaw on the TL and I'll have 20 different people respond to me. And that's kind of how that transpired is I just started going for it. I just woke up one day and I started engaging with people and started tweeting. And One of my favorite things, and I learned this from, big shout out to Kook Capital LLC. I absolutely love Kook. That's my boy. Just be funny on the TL. Just have fun with it. That's really how that transpired. And the people really love it. My only thing is, though, and I have to apologize to my foreign followers, is sometimes when we throw jokes on the TL, maybe things that aren't exactly true, it is hard to cipher through the satire when you're using Google Translator. So sorry to the foreign people, the foreign supporters not in the U.S. that might be using Google Translate, that maybe when they read my satire, they might think it's true. So a joke on the TL right now is, we've seen the Trump NFT stuff and the Polygon stuff. So I made a little tweet about, Polygon and Trump are now in a $100 million bidding war on the Lost Donkeys. that's satire. That's satire. But
if only it were true. Right?
Yeah, it's satire. It's obvious to most of us. But I did get a message from a couple of my foreign amazing foreign supporters that I directly talked to using Google Translate, and they were like, "Oh, is it true?" And I said, "No, it's just a joke. It's just we're being funny."
That's funny, man. Hey, I want to get your opinion on that. What is this whole Polygon, buying and bidding on these NFT projects? What's your take on that?
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you right now, the Lost Donkeys has already been contacted by the co-founder of Polygon. What they want, we don't know. Noodle and I are both, we put our heads together as soon as they contacted us, and we're like, okay, what could they really want? Because I'm going to tell you something right now, and this isn't even like me speaking as a team member. This is speaking like as Lambo. The Lost Donkeys are nothing without Arbitrum. We are nothing without Arbitrum. We are, Arbitrum is our heart and soul, the community. So it's funny because, you've seen this Utes leaving Solana and going to Polygon and whatnot. And at the end of the day, the Lost Donkeys was never about the money. So Polygon could literally offer us the world, and we would never leave this chain. But we see synergy, and this isn't anything that's been discussed with Polygon. This is just understanding the tech and having a little bit of knowledge, Noodle and ourselves, because we're actually big on the tech side. I mean, Noodle's one of the biggest chart nerds I've ever met in my entire life. But parachain activities, I don't know if you guys are familiar with DOT, but parallel chain activities are something that are really holding back the space by not being integrated widely, right? So what happens when you have an asset on Solana and you want to move it to Ethereum? It's not happening, right? We have to, use a mutual, beneficiary, i.e. an exchange, change the currency, make these currencies applicable to this chain, or we have these bridging activities. We have all this stuff going on that is, it makes the individual retail user that isn't familiar with the tech, it makes them less romanticized with the Web3 space. They would say, well, why would I do that when Wells Fargo can let me Zelle my neighbor? You know what I mean? It's those simple centralized banking aspects that make the normal individual more keen to adapting, right? So when I say parachain activities and Arbitrum and Polygon themselves, they're very similar, right? So what is Polygon? Polygon is what would be considered a side chain. And Arbitrum is what would be considered an actual L2, an actual layer 2. So going from Ethereum to Polygon, main chain to side chain, going from Ethereum to L2, Ethereum to Arbitrum, that's already created its own difficulties, but it's been resolved. Now, what are the potentials of Polygon and Arbitrum being interactable? Some type of parachain activity to where maybe potentially our assets are all on Arbitrum. The Lost Donkeys are interacting on Arbitrum. But there's some type of gaming aspect that could be possible via Polygon, some type of parachain activity. Now, this is literally just like the conversation that Noodle and I had, and some of the tech things that, I threw out at him. One of my best friends is a developer, and he's a Link Marine, Link Dot. I mean, he's huge on parachain stuff. And
Link Marine.
Yep, that's right.
I like Link.
Yep, Link is. I like Link a lot too. And just from our perspective, we do think that that's some synergy that we could possibly see. But at the end of the day, if Polygon is just interested and throwing money around and poaching, I don't want to say anything confrontational, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to accuse Polygon of anything, but just to blatantly say it, there isn't enough money in the world for the donkeys to leave Arbitrum. Like, I just want to make that, like, clear enough, like, as I can. And
Hee haw, baby.
yeah, hee haw till the fucking day I die. Till the day I die,
there you
man.
go. That's awesome, man.
And let me just comment on that real quick. When I first got into everything and learning Web3 and stuff, I don't know if you remember this, but back in the 2000s, they had MCSE and CCNA, which was Microsoft Engineer and Cisco Certified Engineer. I went through the whole courses, did all the hands-on route. I was working on the Cisco routers, the 2500 series, and I believe that was what they were. And I loved working on the routers. That was the coolest thing. It was 1999. Yeah, 99 and 2000. I was in the classroom in 2002, 9/11, whatever. I was actually in computer school on 9/11. That shows you how old I am. But
yeah, back in your day. I was just about to say that. Back in the day.
I loved working on those routers. And the thing I learned was about the whole Web3, and they called them tokens. When you were working on the Cisco routers, everything was called tokens or packets on the layers. There's 7 layers. And that was the only thing I remembered. So when I first got into Web3 and they started talking about tokens and packets and protocols, I was like, wait a minute, man. I was into this before this was this. Like, I was already doing this 20 years ago. It was just called different things. It was like still networking and stuff, but there was no Web3. There was no NFTs. People didn't really use those terms, right? So when I saw, Polkadot, that was my biggest bag. That was my first bag, which recently, unfortunately, I had to capitulate at like $6. But I still capitulated in the green because I got in early. But yeah, what Gavin's doing over there with the dot and the parachains, trying to get all the games together and stuff, and what's his name? Donnie Big Bags. I don't know if you heard of him, but he's another one that works on the parachains and the gaming, and. Just to comment to kind of what you said, to bring it back, it's like what you're saying about Polygon and Arbitrum and Lost Donkeys. You can keep your loyalty to Arbitrum. Like we're very loyal to Arbitrum. Like, I've used Matic, I've used Polygon, I've tried to use AVAX. God bless the team over there. I'm not flooding them. I can't figure it out, dude. I went to computer school. I can't figure out AVAX.
Yeah.
I mean, you got X chain, you got Y chain, all this crap. I didn't make it off the landing page. So I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with it.
AVAX.
Optimism.
Yeah,
ZK.
AVAX actually was technically my first, like, gaming NFT. Shout out DeFi Kingdoms, one of the leaders in the NFT gaming space. They started out on the Harmony chain. Won't go into that too much, but they're no longer on the Harmony chain. They created their own, the DeFi Kingdom chain, and they're an AVAX side chain, I want to say. I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm not super familiar with their tech. Anyways, point all that. Same way, I'm not trying to FUD at all. I love DeFi Kingdoms. It was the first game I ever got into, but I'm no longer a holder. Yep. After the AVAX, I gave AVAX some time, and in no way am I want to say anything negative about them. I think it's great what they're doing, but I'm no longer a holder of any AVAX related assets. Just as a personal statement. But
Gotcha.
just like you said, shout out to them. It's great what they're doing and all, but it was a good leap to put me into Arbitrum. I didn't find the community, over there like I did here, and I'm glad that's where I started, because what's one thing about life, right, is learning about things that, or having experiences that are maybe not the most pleasurable or maybe memorable in the wrong ways. So that way it can push our experiences in the more positive way in the future, right? So I'm very, very happy with Arbitrum. Like I said, in no way am I saying anything negative about AVAX, but I have nothing but positive things to say about Arbitrum, and I'll go ahead and leave that at that.
Same.
Yeah,
same. We feel the same way.
Point in case, man. It's just Arbitrum is just to wrap it up. Is just Arbitrum's just easier to use, and that it comes down to that for me.
Yeah,
that was it for me. And so I understand you want to utilize maybe other chains because you want that interoperability between chains so that all of us in Web3 can, flow more freely and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's still Arbitrum for me over all the other L2s just because
Absolutely.
it's easier to use in a better community.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's it. That's it. Not trying to shill, but I just call it like I see it.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
I got no paid. Ain't nobody paying me to do this podcast. So
You know what? And that's
it's
another
like,
thing. Shout out to you guys for sure.
there ain't no paid shills.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people doing things like this without monetary incentive, and straight up, anyone out there listening that might think, Crypto Remora hit me up and said, okay, what can we do to get Lambo on here? You know what I mean? It was never like that. Actually, they just so everyone out there listening, they literally messaged me and said, hey, you're going to be on the show at this time in this date. And I said, okay, cool. There was no arguing. There was no, hey, I'm going to need you to send me a couple bucks. We are all here because we love the community. And straight up, Sierra and Wes, you guys are two of the coolest guys I've met in the space in a very short time. And, I wasn't familiar with you guys, for the longest time, you know what I mean? And you guys have made waves in a very short time. And I have to say, I have an immense amount of respect for that. So, shout out to you guys for sure. Thank you for having me on here. And this isn't a sign off or anything like that. We still have a lot more to talk about.
Well, we appreciate it, man. We were lost for a long time, like I said, and then we found Arbitrum. And then the Lost Donkeys, man, they were like an even greater extension of the hospitality within the Arbitrum ecosystem. And that right there alone just shows great leadership from you and the Lost Donkey team, man. And we'll forever be a supporter of you and the Lost Donkeys. And yeah, man, we appreciate your hard work and everything, man.
For sure. Thank you.
All right. So I guess what we're gonna do real quick, we're gonna do a short intermission to play this video clip that you sent us of. It's like the three donkeys with the piano music in the background.
Oh yeah.
What is that actually? Is that just actual gameplay graphics or is that developer graphics? What is that?
That's pre-stage. That's pre-stage promotion stuff that I sent you. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is some fire alpha either way. So we're gonna push play on that right now.
Heee Haaaaw.
Heee Haaaaw. All right, man. That was cool, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize like how much it actually takes to make, video clips like that, man. It takes a little bit of time. And that's a cool video, man.
Absolutely.
So, Lambo, let's talk about the regions, man.
Yeah, so, something that, has been a big aspect of the donkey so far has been the barns, right? So if you have a fresh donkey, stake them for 2 weeks, and you can redeem and mint a barn for free. Now, what are the barns? The barns are going to be one of the playable aspects of the game that you're going to need with your donkey. So every donkey needs a home, and their home is their barn. But not every barn has, not every barn is created the same, was what I'll add. So one of the aspects about the game that's very, very, very important to take into account is going to be your regions. So we have 8 different regions amongst the barns. And these different regions are going to have different geological disasters. So just to break it down real quick, we have our coastal region, our volcano, hills, tropical, plains, forest, arid, and the Shambhala. Shambhala is the most rare and the most secret. I actually can't talk about much about the Shambhalas. But on top of that, we have the super version of each region. So there can be a super coastal, super volcano, and what these are going to do is they're going to produce more resources than a normal one. And that's actually the point of the barns. The barns are going to be your lifeline. Your barns are going to produce the different harvest resources that we need in order to craft and do the different things in the game.
Gotcha. Hey, so all right. So for the barns, can you have 2 donkeys, 1 barn, so the people know, or do you have to have a barn for each individual donkey?
So right now, the barns are going to be 1-to-1. We do have plans in the future that you will be able to mint a barn with carrot, so that way you can have more barns. It's going to be a potential in the future, just some inside alpha, that there's going to be a 3-to-1 ratio of barns to
Oh wow.
donkeys. But as of right now, when the game begins, it's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So I would definitely recommend, if you have a donkey, your donkey needs a barn. Because if your donkey doesn't have a barn, they won't be able to play the game.
Gotcha. What now? Let me ask you something, because I know, Sierra, when you first got into it, you got the donkey and then you just went ahead and bought a barn, and then you staked your donkey for another barn. Um, is there, so after you get that barn for 2 weeks, is there an incentive or anything that you guys got going on, maybe behind the scenes, to incentivize you to keep the donkey in, or is that something you can talk about? Or
So, it's been a while, and we have some people that have a donkey staked for, over 100 days.
yeah,
So when the initial game starts, it is definitely a plan that the longer that you're staked, the more benefit you're going to receive on the initial launch. So I can't say much more than that, but that is already something that we have discussed because I talked about this before. I did a Twitter Spaces where there was a lot of different Arbitrum projects discussed there, game development and different things like that if they were already an existing game. So it's already public knowledge. We had to scrap a huge amount of our game development, and that pretty much just came down to the product that we were creating. It wasn't what we were happy with. It wasn't what we wanted to ship to our supporters. Because we have a higher expectation, and a lot of that also came to the bear market and the fact that the donkeys were free mint. It's not about the money. And our money that goes into the development directly comes from royalties. So once the tank started marking or the market started tanking, so did our budget. But that didn't matter to us. So we didn't want to cheap out on it, and then we started finding other avenues, grants and things like that, because as builders in the space, there's synergy. You know what I mean? We're really lucky to be on Arbitrum, and we do have things in works behind the scenes as far as support from outside help. That is definitely going to be a big help in 2023 as far as our game development goes. But there is going to be a benefit the longer you have your donkey staked. I would have to say yes.
gotcha. Awesome, man. Yeah, I've been staking mine since I got it, and then the only time I really pulled it out was to get the barn into the wallet, and then I just restaked it. So he's chilling. He's
Cool,
chilling in there.
cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so something I wanted to also say on the region. So the regions, we have different geo disasters. So we have droughts, tsunamis, storms, volcano eruptions, wildfires, and locust plagues. So even though your barn is a happy place for your donkey, it doesn't mean that the area that the barn is in is going to be very nice to it. So as it's questing, as different things go on in the game, you may encounter different type of geological disasters. This isn't a setback or anything like that. It's all going to be part of the gameplay. And one of the big things with us is we don't want to be a stake and release style game. We want to be a little more interactive. We wanted to be something fun, and we are basing the game loosely on Stardew Valley, early Legend of Zelda kind of Pokemon theme look. You know what I mean? And it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, we've had some really big developments. Big shout out to our head developer, Denna Mizuki. Denna Mizuki is also one of our core team members, one of the main four. Quick shout out actually to the whole team, Noodle and Miru, and then we have Wenda, and then of course Denim. Denim is like I said, our lead developer, and I mean, he's amazing. I mean, there's almost anything that this man can't do. I mean, he's so respected in the space, even before the Web3 world. I mean, has a lot of history in the development software world, and I mean, he's he's an amazing person. Him and I are also friends on a personal level, as I am, friends with everyone on the team. And he's so talented, and that's another thing with aligning yourself with an organization is I like the people I work with, and not just like, but I love these people, and it's funny because we've never met, and that's something you experience at Web3 is all the love that you get, especially like through Arbitrum, and we've never even met any of
Yeah.
these people, and you can feel the unconditional love.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. I feel like, especially during hard times, at the bottom of the bear, there's a lot of people in Web3, especially during bear markets, that are a lot alike. I mean, so many similarities. I feel like that's where you meet the legends, in these bear markets, because those are the guys that are hustling and sticking it out and pulling through and building, man. So Yeah, it's been really incredible to meet so many people and just kind of have so much in common, even on a personal level. But yeah, the regions. I think I got my barn. I think is in the hills. Siri, where did you get your barn? You got two of them, right?
Yeah, I think I staked my donkey, and then it said that I checked it the other day, but I didn't want to unstake her because I think I have like 49 days or 50 days staked right now. So it said that the barn was already redeemed for this donkey. I'm not sure if that was me who already redeemed it, but either way, when I bought my Jenny, I had already read the loss paper, and so I already knew. I was like, okay, the barns, regions, I was already on top of it. So I scooped a barn, another one. So I have a barn in the coastal region, and I have a barn in the plains. Is it the plains or the
Yeah,
hills?
we have
The
the plains
plains?
and we have the hills. So you
Okay,
you
so
so
yeah,
so
mine's the
you can
plains, I
be
think.
the original stakey and claim your barn, and then you can, people can sell their barns or sell their barns and their donkey if they want separate on the marketplace. And there is actually a way to check. We set up, it's in the Discord, and I believe it's pinned in the announcement channel. You can check the ID of that donkey. Say you're looking on the marketplace. Throw in the ID into. It's going to take you to the Etherscan. It's actually going to take you to the contract, and you're going to go down to the. I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but it's all pinned in the announcement section. You put in the ID in the section, and you run it, and it's going to give you a true or false. If true, I believe the barn has been redeemed. If false, the barn has not been redeemed. So that's this. I mean, I know it's a little technical. We don't have like an easy way to really check right now. That is actually something I was talking with Denim. Because right now, I've been asking different community people to do is, if they have any issues with the website or just any tips or anything like that they would like to see, go ahead and shoot them on over to me, because I will contact Denim myself. I will personally DM Denim, and I'll be like, hey, so here's just a rundown of some things that maybe we can get going. I actually had a community member reach out about. They wanted to be able to check rarity directly on the website when they're staked. So that's something that we're actually working on right now. So that way you don't have to pull your donkey or go around the ID on Trove or anything like that. You can just go directly to thelostdonkey.com, and then you can see your staked donkeys, and then maybe give you a little bit more analytics, maybe like your rarity, and then maybe something else. I don't want to talk about too much because we like to be,
Yeah.
how we are with the Rick rolling and the surprises and things
Yeah,
like
man.
that.
That's all. Yeah, you got to keep it exciting, man. I love when y'all do those little surprise. But yeah, man, we love what you're doing. Just keep it up, man. Like, we are so excited for this project to see that next level, and yeah, man, just kind of grow along with you guys.
For sure.
Sierra, anything you'd like to add, man?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because we talked about pretty much everything we hit on about the lost donkeys that I had questions about, and I just wanted to do a broader sense, just to bring it up to date. Like, that last bull run, I was in the same camp, I think, with everybody. Oh, we're gonna go to 100,000. We're going to 150,000. Bitcoin's rolling, and while I've suffered through this bear market like everyone else, I said when we were going up to 69,000, we were at like 52 or 54,000 Bitcoin was headed towards, and I looked at my phone and I looked at Wes, and I'm just like thinking, I'm like, something ain't right about this pump. And it was right about the time when Elon was pumping on Twitter and all that craziness, and I was like, I felt like we were too soon. Like, I in my gut, I said, this is too fast, too soon, too much. Now, that being said, I watched my portfolio go down just like everybody else did. I didn't sell the top. I did not sell the top, but I can't help but shake the feeling that I said October, November, December, Bitcoin should be at 100,000 to 150. And we didn't. 3 or 4 months before October is when we had that massive run from 30 to 50,000. And I just remember feeling in the pit of my stomach like, this is too soon. This is too fast, too high, too soon. But, I learned the lesson of to follow my gut. Like, I should have sold more. My buddy sold the top. Daniel, shout out to our boy Daniel. He sold the top.
Good for him.
Sold. He said, "Yeah,
Good for him.
I sold
Yeah.
all my Ethereum." I was like, "What the
Good
hell?"
for him. Oh, good
So
for him.
it's
Yeah.
dude. I mean, congratulations. But I was going to ask you on a more macro
Okay.
level. Now that we kind of had that pre-run, right, and now we're at the quote unquote floor. A lot of people are screaming 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't see that. I see 13,800 is what I've been screaming from the rooftops because of GBTC level. I used Thinkorswim
Mm-hmm.
back in 2020 because I was a stock guy first, and I converted full on to crypto in 2020. But I studied that GBTC level at 13,800 as the most traded level in all of Bitcoin's history, and I'm still screaming that level, but we've stayed at 16,000, so we haven't even touched that 13.8. So I don't see us going to 10,000 at all ever again, unless a black swan or something. But I wanted to get your view of the macro with Bitcoin, not even just the Fed and stuff, but where do you see Bitcoin needs?
So right, like great question, right? So what is Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is the leader of the market, right? So you can essentially look at almost every coin and relate back to a Bitcoin chart and say, okay, well, what's going on here? What's going on here, right? You know, it's what a general economist for the crypto world would say is like, okay, this is the leader of the market, right? So on a more macro level, on an economic sense, where are we headed to in America, and not just America, but as the world? We're headed into a recession. A lot of people say, okay, we've been in a recession for a period of time, and we're continuing. So how long was the last economic recession in 2008? It was, I believe it was over 600 days. So at this current point, if this was, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but a gentleman I was reading online is an intelligent economist, master in economics. We are only about 100 or so days into what is considered the recession. And what were the lowest points of the previous recession were right in the middle. So in my personal opinion, my friends, I don't even think we've seen the worst of it. And what is, as a general sense, not as a crypto degen, as a normal person in America, what is investing in cryptocurrency? It is a luxury. It is a luxury investment that a normal person they're holding, it's something planned for the future, but it's something that in the back of their mind, if they know everything else on the outside of the world, not crypto, their life begins to capitulate. They can sell, they can get a little bit of money back in their pocket. Maybe it's going to be less than they put into it. Yeah, everyone takes losses on their investments. But I don't see most individuals in America that are going through an economic recession as saying, okay, you know what? Well, I mean this in a broad sense, as saying, okay, my Bitcoin is something I don't need right now. I need the money. I need to pay my mortgage. I mean, me personally, I would never sell my Bitcoin. I mean, I have, friends that have been in, Bitcoin and crypto since almost near the beginning, friends of 2012, 2013, you know what I mean? And the real OG days, and they wouldn't sell their Bitcoin for anything, but it's that romanticized feeling of, right, okay, where is it going? Just like you said, is it going to 100,000? Are we going to, there are people that say once there's no more Bitcoin left, is it going to go to $500,000 per Bitcoin? And let's be honest, the smartest person in the world couldn't have told you 3 years before Bitcoin hit 69K that it was going to go to 69K. There's no person on record that, they could tell you nowadays. But I've never read an interview. I've never read a journal or anything on crypto or Bitcoin a couple years prior that said, no, Bitcoin, I promise you it's going to go to these levels. Because that's what a true economist does, you know what I mean, when they're observing a market, you know what I mean? They're using market caps of companies and the potential moves, and they know that they're making, acquisitions and things like that. Whereas, example like Amazon, Tesla, people observe these numbers and they'll give you a realized number and they'll say, no, I see Amazon going here, I see Tesla going here. Well, with Bitcoin, we see a lot of general, like I've said, Noodle. Big shout out to Noodle, the founder of the Lost Donkeys. He's one of the smartest individuals I've ever met in crypto. I mean, he can study charts or has studied charts and can tell me a lot, or tell anyone a lot just by what he's seeing. And then also shout out to my good friend Nooch, an actual real life friend of mine here in Las Vegas, who is the reason I'm into crypto and NFTs. One of the smartest chart nerds I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, huge shout out to Nooch. And I mean, he'll tell you himself that the way he studies Bitcoin and the way it leads the market and things like that. But the smartest chart people that I've met, that they'll even tell you themselves, they can give you a predictive number for, X, Y, and Z, but really saying a true number down the line, okay, like we're going to end up here, we're going to end up $500,000, $300,000 per Bitcoin when there's no more Bitcoin. I feel like it's hard to say, but in reality, I mean, we're going to head there. I mean, we all know it. When there's no more Bitcoin left to be mined, when there's only a finite amount of Bitcoin left, it's almost like the sky is the limit, right? Like we really don't know where we can end up. But in my personal opinion, I mean, I don't want to disagree with you, but I do see Bitcoin and I mean, even the rest of the market taking another tank, I mean, because that's what happens, right? I mean, we see waves. I mean, we had blood for months.
Where's your floor? Where's your floor at? Give me some kind. I don't want a time frame. I just want a number.
I know.
I want a dollar amount for floor.
I mean, some of the smartest people I have been seeing really don't think seeing Bitcoin at 10,000 is impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even me saying that, I mean, you got to think about all the money people have lost when it gets to that point. You have to think about all the lives that are changing at that point, because that's also something that people don't think about with financial investments. And yeah, to some people it's fun. To me, crypto it's my passion, it's my heart. But all my eggs aren't in one basket. So if the market capitulates, I'm not looking for the nearest bridge. Which is a joke. When I was before I was an accounting major, I was a finance major. And I had a finance professor continuously make jokes about, well, what happens when you lose a client $10 million? You go look for the nearest bridge. And I was like, that's not funny. That's real life, And then I switched to accounting, and I love the world of accounting, and I got into tax, but then I got more into Web3, and I started to say, okay, this is a lot like, the finance world that I was in, and you see these people's lives, and they get fully capitulated when 100% of their money is in the market. You always think, you see Bitcoin go from 69K down to 40,000. Well, whoa, people just got wrecked who bought the top, and people bought the top with everything they had because, well, everyone else went all in and they did well. So, why don't, it's that, if everyone else is doing it, why don't I, mindset, so, I mean, I don't think it's impossible to see Bitcoin around 10K. I also don't think it's impossible to never see Bitcoin at 10K. You know what I mean? That's the thing about it, and me, like, I'm not a Bitcoin economist. You know what I mean? Like, I do think of myself as a smart person. I do think of myself as, I know a little bit about a lot of different things, and I do try and study crypto myself. But, there's a lot smarter people that I would listen to about numbers. And one of them is actually, big shout out to my boy Nooch. He has a alpha server on Discord. That's literally how I got started in on crypto and Web3. And right now,
I just joined it.
Yeah. He just opened it up for free for Arbitrum community members and stuff. So if you're listening to this, you're watching this interview, then please hit me up on Twitter. I'll hook you up with Nooch, and I would absolutely love to get some alpha thrown your way.
All right. Hey, so Lambo, we were kind of discussing about this charity event, and I know y'all are working with a group outside of Texas. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that event?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing about Web3, right? We do a lot of stuff virtually, and one thing we want to do is to give back to the actual animal that our project is based on, pay homage in the real world to the donkeys. So here in the United States, we are currently donating every month to feed donkeys through the Peaceful Valley Donkey Rescue. They're out of Austin, Texas. Super, super nice people. They actually opened up a chapter here in Southern Nevada. I'm based out of Las Vegas. And the way we got hooked up with them was, I found them on the internet. And they opened up the first donkey museum, the Donkey History Museum, out here in Southern Nevada. So me and my girlfriend, we made a trip out there one day. It's only about an hour away from Vegas. We went and had a good time. We were Heee Haaaaw in the Donkey Museum, and then we noticed that they had pictures up of the donkeys and like little stories and things like that. And we started talking to them, and they were basically like, we're a charity, of course, so we're always looking for donations. But just to break it down, if you want to sponsor donkeys, it's $25 to feed a donkey. Per month. Okay. So we are currently sponsoring just 2. I know it's not much yet, but our goal is to be feeding a lot more than just a couple donkeys a month. But yeah, we're doing our best to give back and pay homage to the amazing animal that our entire project is based on. And
Yeah.
big shout out to the Peaceful Valley Donkey Rescue. If anyone ever has the chance, anyone out there listening to this video, completely unrelated, from the Lost Donkeys, if you have the chance to go check out the Peaceful Valley Donkey Rescue .org and donate to their charity. I mean, it really does go to a good cause. I mean, donkeys are an amazing animal. They've been used all throughout history for they're some of the hardest workers, in the
Yeah.
world. They're truly put to work. Tried and true. The donkeys, and that's what we do as a team. You know what I mean? All we do is work. All we do is hee haw, and we love the animal that it's all based on. So yeah, that's all about paying homage to that amazing beast that the donkey is.
That's awesome, man. So if we'll pin it in the description, so if anybody's interested, they can go there and kind of help out. You can choose however many donkeys you want? Is it like on a personal level? Can you choose like a specific donkey that you want to
So,
help out? Or?
so you when you go on and you select an amount to pledge, you'll end up getting something sent back to you, and it'll have some more information and stuff like that. But once
Okay,
you
cool.
go onto the website, yeah, no, it's all, you can totally just choose how much you want to pledge and things like that. It's super easy.
Awesome. Cool deal, man. Well, Lambo, dude, you've been great. Thank you so much for coming on and and supporting this channel, dude. We love you so much, and we can't wait to have you back again, bud.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you guys. Yeah, Wes, Sierra, I really appreciate you guys having me on. Shout out to everyone. Hee haw to all my people, everyone on Twitter,
Yeehaw.
YouTube, yeah, everyone that's gonna hear this. Thank you guys, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Lambo, thank you so much, man. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys, have a good one.